Good morning, everyone. So I was just gonna make some lunch, and I thought I would sort of walk y'all all through my process. I think it's something I haven't done with anybody really ever, is where I cook on any type of camera. It's been a minute. So I am making right now, I guess, a bastardized fried rice. I think it's something that too many people get stuck to, is that we have to keep things to the original recipe. And I am not one of those people. I like to flip things on their head. I like to incorporate my ingredients and whatever I have on hand. And no one ever said that fried rice had to be exactly one thing. So I am going to be making my own little variation of it, and I will walk you through it. Today is going to be sort of an Italian, I guess, fried rice. I have started with some of my Jupiter and Venus kissing planet infused olive oil that was infused with the first sprigs of rosemary and lavender from my garden. I'm going to try to follow most of as close to the recipe as I possibly can, but I mean, there's one egg that I whisked for 2 minutes, and just to get it nice and airy, I'm going to let it cook while I also take down this locally sourced lion's mane. This was grown by a local farmer. It would be much tanner if it was wild forage, but the nice white crispness of this is quite beautiful and will make for a lovely mushroom balsamic lavender fried rice. So you can see the egg in this steel pan is coming together lovely. I want to see, I guess, if you have any other recipes that are absolutely nothing like the original, leave those in the comments. I want to see and hear what you guys make. This is just something I was sitting trying to figure out what I had in the house, what I wanted to use out of my ingredients, and I found my own variation of my magical ingredients to really put together to make some lunch today. And mushrooms go everywhere. This cutting board was gifted to me from a previous catering client, and I absolutely love it. So with this, I'm just going to first cook off the egg, then remove it. With this carbon steel pan, try not to use metal because you don't want to burn it. Turn down my heat a little bit. It's too big for this pan. A little more of my infused magic oil and some shallot. That it's called mise en place when you have everything ready. It's chef nomenclature naming. Just to tell you to have your stuff in order before you start cooking. I think every chef knows exactly what I'm talking about. And if you are not a chef, then it's just nice to have things in the order or in prepared before you start getting everything together. So I am going to then dump that mushroom in there. This is mushroom that you do not want to wash before you utilize. If you wash it, it will get waterlogged and it will drown out any crispiness that you were hoping to achieve. And everybody loves the caramelization that comes from mushrooms, and no one wants like a gooey thing. So just, if you wash it, mushroom will absorb pretty much all the liquid. And once it absorbs all the liquid and you start to cook it, it will release all that liquid and you will get a soppy mess. And it won't be delightful. It won't be it'll be tasty. I mean, if you boil off all the water, it'll start to I love food. I do. I love to eat. It's what got me into cooking anyways. And so I am just allowing this to brown. You can see right there the color starting to achieve. It's losing. So before and after. I'm just looking to get some color, cook this down. Remember, mushroom is a fungi, so when I sit there and tell you not to wash it, you are still making sure there's no weird growths on it. But a fungus, even edible ones, are antimicrobial because bacteria and fungi are not friends and they like to fight each other. So by having the mushroom ahead of time, and you can still see, even with this mushroom, I am still getting a lot of moisture. So I am cooking them down, adding in batches, just so I can get it soft and give myself some room in the pan. But let that caramelize. So again, the oil that I made was during recently we had Venus and Jupiter touching in the night sky, and I thought that was just a wonderful little moment to run out and grab some springs or sprigs of spring, and I boiled everything and brought it to temperature and infused it, and then as soon as I infused it with the first sprigs of spring, I set it out for 2 consecutive nights while Jupiter and Venus, one for Venus, one for Jupiter, so all my little food ingredients could gather in the mojo of the stars and planets as they align. And I thought it was just a little magical moment, and I thought, well, it's time to eat it. And so this is some balsamic vinegar. So for obviously regular fried rice, you would be adding soy sauce in this step. And this is what is, I'm calling it Italian. I think Italians and any culture that makes fried rice, because different variations of fried rice come from Japan, come from China, come from Korea, come from Vietnam. There's fried rice in every speciality. I don't think I've ever had Italian fried rice. I don't know how it's going to taste. But we are going to try, and even if I don't think it tastes very good, the funny thing is, I will be hungry again, and I get to try it again, or move on and never try it again. I'm adding a bit of honey in this with vinegar. I do want to make sure that I am balancing off that tartness, so a little sweetness. In traditional Chinese cooking, you're going to see a lot of rock sugar utilized, most likely not in anyone's fried rice recipe. But since I'm using something that has a lot more bitterness than soy sauce, I feel like it will be a nice little addition to the meal. So at this point, I am just going to let everything marry, come together. Simmer, simmer, simmer until those bubbles, you'll see these bubbles right around the edge, are quick and they go away. That's not what I'm looking for. I am looking for sticky bubbles. And so as soon as the bubbles have started to stick and stay around for more than just the quick second, then I will add in my leftover cooked brown rice. And at the very end, I'll throw back in my egg and enjoy. So, it's always difficult to come up with things to say. Don't do that if you're ever serving it to the guests. That's only for stick it straight in your mouth if it's just for you. Needs a little salt. Gonna do a little smoked Chardonnay salt in there. Just to bring that up. You probably wouldn't need salt if you were using soy sauce, well, you definitely wouldn't need salt if you're using soy sauce. So where my balsamic comes with so much vinegar bitterness, soy sauce is going to come with a salt content. And that's looking good because, see, we can see those bubbles are sticking around a lot longer than they were a bit ago. But we're going to want some of that fried rice, or brown rice, to absorb some of the sauce. Always be careful. This is a pan where the handles get very, very hot. So please don't burn yourself. Mix around. Break up any clumps of rice. And now allow it to get hot. And I'm pretty sure my Italian grandmother rolling around in her grave that I am making Italian fried rice. I think every culture that has a fried rice recipe is rolling around in their grave that I dare bastardize a recipe like this. But I think in one world in which we have the ability to have all these ingredients from all around the globe, why is it not okay to have a little bit more fusion and mix things around? We have, honestly, California where I live, there's fusion everything. California really adopts, you can get a sushi burrito in California. I doubt you can get that in a lot of other countries. But I think that it's a fun creation, not one that I go for every day. So why not try other fusion? A little Japanese Italian or Chinese Italian, Asian Italian, a little mixing. Listening is one of the biggest things with cooking that I ever do, and I could recommend that if you are a chef or a home chef, that you learn to listen to your food. It's one of the first things I ever train any chef I am working with, to always listen. It's a 5 sense endeavor. So right now I can hear that my rice is scorching, but it is fried rice, so I want it to scorch just a little bit. Can't really describe it. That harshness is where I can hear of the burn. I can hear it burning. And I know if I let it go too long without stirring, the rice will go from a nice caramelization to a burnt. And you can hear that aggressiveness is still there because this pan is so darn hot, which is exactly what I want. Normally a recipe like this would be made in a wok, but again, use what you have. I think so many people think that you have to go to the grocery store to buy every ingredient to make a meal in your house. You have to follow a recipe. You have to do it this way. I really say to all of that, I think we all can take a lesson in mixing it up a bit and having a lot more fun with our food. And now I'm going to add back in that scrambled egg from earlier. The mushroom's going to bring tons of protein, the egg a little bit more, a little rice to keep you full. All it really needs is some green onion, which I unfortunately don't have. But I'm not going to make that make or break my meal today. I am going to enjoy this as it is. then the most important part, really, is how does something this obnoxious taste? And I have no idea what it's going to taste like. I mean, it's not fried rice. I mean, it is, but it's not. It's sweet. The balsamic, it's sweet and savory. Balsamic glaze went down. You could have probably used a little less honey in it. Those little crispy bits are going to be what I'm going to go for. The mushroom is lovely. It's a very mellow tasting mushroom, so it does hide amongst the flavors, but once you get a nice chunk of it, like I did with my first bite, it was quite a nice bite. It has a great texture right now. Again, this is all local grown mushroom. It wasn't too expensive. I got it down at a farmer's market. Mushroom farmers are definitely growing in America. The need of alternative proteins is definitely a thing that we should all endeavor, because a mushroom doesn't fart. I know, how silly does that sound? But one of the worst things about the cattle, or about beef, is the fact that beef cows fart. And all that methane gets released into the gas or atmosphere and turns into one of the big proponents of climate change. So it's not that I am trying to convince you to give up beef. I love beef just as much as everybody else, but to respect it. And if beef is something that has such a large footprint, maybe instead of having it every day, you endeavor to have it once in a while. If we could even reduce our beef consumption by 30%, that's 30% less protein or methane going up into the atmosphere and causing climate change. And we can all endeavor just to live a little healthier and a little happier and make our planet a little happier too. So don't get bogged down in the recipes, and have fun with your magical cooking. I love you all.